Hi everyone, and welcome to Studying the Masters. Welcome back. It's been 2 weeks since we've done Studying the Masters, but I think it's been an awesome 2 weeks, and I think that it gave us some time to reflect on some of the masters that we've covered so far. We've done Glenn Keane, we've done Mark Davis, we've done Don Bluth, we've done Chuck Jones, and so if you haven't seen any of those videos, I want to invite you to take a look at them. Maybe after you see this one. So today we're going to be doing someone fun, an artist that I've never covered before, but he is an amazing artist. He worked for Disney for some 30 years or something like that. I believe he's might still be with them now. He began working there in 1980, and he said the first film that he worked on with Disney was The Black Cauldron, and he was actually mentored by one of the Nine Old Men. So I thought that was really interesting and really cool. He's famous for doing Andreas Deja. He's famous for doing characters that we know and love. Some of our favorite villains, like Scar from The Lion King. He's done Jafar from Aladdin. He's done King Triton in The Little Mermaid. He's done Hercules in Hercules. And here we have Lilo. So he has a really broad range of characters that he's developed and worked on. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to continue to talk about him and work that he's done and what inspired him, but I'm going to go ahead and get us started. So let me just resize this image right here. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I can go bigger. Oh my goodness. So I hope that you guys are having a good week. It's the middle of the week. That means we're halfway done. We're almost there, people. We're almost there. We're getting there anyway. And so I am excited to begin this because it's been a while since I've done Studying the Masters. It's been 2 weeks, and it feels like it's been 2 weeks too long. So I'm excited to get us started. I'm going to go ahead and put something back on. Oh, I wish I had a coffee maker. Or not a coffee maker, one of those instant cappuccino makers or something like that. Excuse me. I might need to grab some water. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so we're ready to go. I have to get some water because I was choking. It's not a good idea to choke. I don't recommend it for anyone, but let me go ahead and start something. Watch this documentary that I was watching before. Okay, so let me get the timer, and we're going to do 10-minute poses again. Since these are a lot of quick sketches, I'm just going to do see how many I can cover in 10 minutes. Timer. Let's set us up for 10 minutes, and let us begin. So, I think I'm going to work on multiple layers with this one. So let's go ahead and start now. And let me see which one I'm going to start with. Let's start with the second one, I think. You can still use kidney bean shapes and stuff like that when you, it comes in handy, I think, with so many, just with drawing torsos in general. I wanted to start with something kind of simple. I think that of all the characters that he's done, not that it's any less valid, but I think it's more simplistic than a lot of what he did before, because a lot of the characters that he was doing, like Scar and Triton, those were really anatomical characters, meaning, they really are the product of a lot of study of anatomy and really understanding muscle and really understanding movement. And I think that at this time, which was, when was Lilo released? I'll have to see, when was Lilo? I'll take a look. Anyway, you guys can probably look that up. But like in the late 90s, early 2000s, around that era, I think Disney was really starting to experiment with some different styles, and that's what we're seeing with Lilo. Probably gonna make my shape too big, actually. I think I could even go smaller with some of these. I don't know what she's reaching for. Oh, flower. Okay. I'm gonna make another sketch. I'm gonna take my pen tool down a little bit to about 14 or so. Actually, this is too dramatic. I don't know how she's feeling. I had a wildlife documentary, which I love to watch, but I think it's a little bit too much. Okay, let's start. I'll just put on some good old Moana. I never get sick of Moana. I was listening to the soundtrack to my car yesterday. And I realized, one of the reasons why I love that movie so much was when I first moved out here to Los Angeles, and I was trying to become part of the animation industry and trying to meet people and try and find out what the industry was all about and stuff like that. And I'd already been interested in Moana just because the character was so unique compared to what I had seen before. But actually got the opportunity, luckily, to go and see the film screening at Disney Studios, and I think it was such a awesome experience. Especially, I was actually volunteering that night for the Women in Animation, um, so it was a really neat experience and one that I will always value. So I think that's one of the reasons why I love this movie so much. But anyway, we're not talking about the movie today, and I bring it up too much. I'm sorry. But we are talking about Andreas Deja, and he's really neat because I mean, I talk about these sort of things, and it's always like a relief when I hear about other artists, and they have very similar stories. And Andreas Deja, he has this same kind of weird obsession with I don't want to necessarily call it obsession, but sort of like this obsession with Disney Studios and like the films that touched him as a young child who was inspired to become an artist because of that studio. And I think a lot of the artists now, even the ones who've created other studios like Nickelodeon and DreamWorks and all Tidmouse and all the other studios around, a lot of them were first inspired by Disney Studios. And so I think we have to give some credit there. But I was going to say, it was actually Jungle Book that Andreas saw when he was 11 years old, and it inspired him to become an animator, and inspired him to really want to take art, as a profession. And I think that's really neat because I think a lot of artists within animation and cartooning and illustration have similar stories. Usually it's one film that they saw or one book that they read. It was this one moment. Obviously, there are like multiple moments, but it's like the one major moment that kind of stands out when you look back at the different things that have led you to draw and different things that have led you to become an artist. And I think that's really neat and special. I can't see her second arm. I'd like to see where it is, but I can't really tell where her arm ends and where her shirt begins. So I'm just going to leave it and then start another sketch. So let's move these up so we can start another sketch. But he has a similar story, and even Richard Williams has a similar story where he was inspired by a Disney film. He obviously went on, and actually, Andreas Day has something really in common with Richard Williams because Richard Williams, as you probably know already, was the creator and really was the head guy behind Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's really his film, but Andreas Deja also worked on that film and also animated Roger Rabbit, which I thought was a pretty cool little fact. At least I think so. And I want to do this last sketch. I like her little angle there. I'm going to draw that one. But anyway, he was inspired by Jungle Book to become an animator, and he actually wrote to the studio. And I just thought it was so funny as I was reading through this, you know. And obviously now times are different. I mean, you know, you may or may not hear back from the studio if you write them. I have written to studios before. Some people will get back to you. Like usually the people, if you're gonna get back to your people that you've met before in other circumstances, maybe you just start to be involved with animation and industry and just start to try and meet people at different events. And then if you write them, obviously they're going to write you back. But if you just write to, you don't know who you're titling it to or anything like that, I don't know how likely it is, but you can still try. I don't want to discourage anybody because I feel like you never know. You never know. So if you have like the itch, or the Holy Spirit is telling you to write to Disney, which I don't know if that happens or not, but I'll just say if you feel like there's something that you want to do, then go for it. But what was I wanted to say? I think I got lost in all my thoughts. Oh no, I didn't. Anyway, he wrote to Disney as a young kid. I think it was not. It doesn't say exactly how old he was when he wrote to them, but he was inspired by the Jungle Book, and I don't know how much later. I believe he was still a kid when he wrote to them, like, "Hey, I want to work for you guys, and will you take me?" And I thought it was really funny that they told him, don't send us any pictures of Mickey Mouse. And this is some maybe 40 years ago when he was writing to them. It's a long time ago. And you're telling him, become an artist yourself, like become an artist in your own right, do your own work, study, go and study people in your family. And this is the thing, but this is funny. It's so funny because it's all relative and it's all the same. What they told him was to draw people in his family, people close to them, and to go to the zoo. Wink, wink. They told him to go to the zoo and draw the animals and like really spend a lot of time drawing the animals at the zoo. And it's so funny because this is the same thing that I'm telling everyone. So if you haven't taken me seriously, um, maybe sometimes I know what I'm talking about. I feel like, at least in this respect, I feel like I really take learning to draw seriously. And everyone that I interact with, I try to encourage them to take learning to draw seriously. And so hopefully you've gotten that message. If not, then I hope that you do begin to incorporate that, because I do think it matters. Like it's not just a skill too. It's such a freeing thing to just be able to um, put a pencil to paper, put a stylus to, you know, whatever this thing is, screen, and actually create something and really enjoy the process. I feel like it's a really freeing act, and I really think it's worth it. I think it's worth the time that it takes to really um, begin to get good at it. Oh wow, we're already jumping into Scar. That was quick. I thought we weren't getting to him yet, but here we go. Let's resize this, and I'm gonna make it more than that. That's good. So let's start on Scar and see where we get. Scar is an awesome villain. He's I want to talk for a second about Scar. I think he is really, I think that Andreas Deja really brought something to Scar. We've had obviously animal villains before in Disney. And in feature film, I think one of the main ones that comes to mind is Shere Khan. And Shere Khan was, a genius thing. And so I think at the same time, it makes it easier for Andreas Deja to create Scar, but it also makes it more difficult because people are always going to be comparing, well, is his big cat going to be the same as the big cat that was already done? People are automatically going to, hold him to, and also hold him to that standard of, being compared to Milk Call. That's got to be like tremendous pressure. I mean, to say the least. I mean, who wants their work to be, compared to Milk Call? And I feel like he really pulled it off because it's not, it's like Jafar, not Jafar, sorry, and Jafar and Scar really remind me of each other. And I think now that I understand that, it's created by the same person, it makes more sense. But anyway, but Jafar, and they see it as difficult. Scar is, really brings a whole other element to this big cat villain because he has a elegance to him. He has like this suaveness to him, even though he's uh, a lion, and even though he's a wild and vicious animal, like his, it's funny because he really gains all of this power and sort of deceives people and kind of gets his way, not through his strength as being a lion, but through his intellect. And even says, I was watching this movie the other day, and it's one of the lines that I love in the movie. It's like he says to Mufasa, like, what does he say? This great line, and he's like, you know, something about God. I want to get the line right. Anyway, I guess I'll ad lib it. But he says essentially, that he's aware that he has the brains, you know, and the family, but also when it comes to brute strength, I'm at the shallow end of the gene pool. Like, I don't have the strength. I don't have. I'm aware that I'm not physically as strong as you are, Mufasa, but I know that I'm smarter than you. Essentially, is what he says, and it's sadly it's kind of true because he does end up outsmarting Mufasa. And the thing about Mufasa is it's not that he's dumb. He's just much more concerned with family and relationship and the feeling of love and responsibility than he is about you know being aware, I guess, of this impending doom that's right next to him with his brother that's obviously jealous of him and doesn't even show up for um Simba's ceremony, and he's like obviously insulting, Mufasa to his face. And Mufasa just kind of is like, oh, you want to fight? Like, but that's about all he does. And then he just blows him off. He doesn't really take him seriously. And I think that's exactly where you know, his downfall was he doesn't take Scar seriously. And I know I'm getting into this whole theory now. It reminds me like of Game of Thrones out of thinking about it. And I know that it's I hope that you guys are not bored by my theorizing of Lion King. But I know that it's based off of what is it, Homer? It's based off of a Shakespeare play, and it's really, and I'm pretty sure that you probably heard that already because it's been talked about just throughout. People that I think anybody that's interested in comics or animation has heard it before. That whole theory of the Lion King being based off of the Shakespearean play. Anyway, I don't know the name of it. I can't recall. I'm not Shakespearean historian or anything like that, but I hope that you know what I'm talking about. If you remember, you can write it in the comments. I like to have these discussions. These are like my favorite discussions, like breaking down animated films. I don't know why. It's just a thing that I like to do. And the theory of how come so many Disney parents are dead. Going back to Mufasa, how come so many of the parents are dead or dying in the movie? And even though there are these, folk tales with happy endings, happily ever after, there's still all these dead parents, you know? Anyway, that's one of the theories I also like to talk about. And I hope it's not boring to you. It's not boring to me. I think it's really fascinating. I think I need to do this head over. Even to like, it's frustrating me. It's not as easy as it always. Sometimes it comes off like really fantastic, but then sometimes it's like, I have to just start all over. And I think it's that lean in that he has. He has like this lean in with his head. And I think I need to take this even further out. He has a really like smug, I think is a good word to describe his personality. He's smug and just slightly condescending sort of a thing that he's doing. He insults you to your face, but you don't get it. He does it all the time. He does it with the hyenas. He does it with Simba. He's like, oh, maybe you should work on your roar there. It's like, and I feel like it was like a little bit of a, even like an innuendo there, like, oh, you're not like man enough, or like, pretty much insulting him on his manhood before he's even a man is kind of what Scar did when he was talking to Simba. And it's kind of like it shows his character, like, what kind of man insults a boy on his manhood before he's even a man, and that's kind of interesting. I don't know. There's just all these different stuff that I need to draw this over like 500 times. It's time to be a very complicated one. I think I can starting to understand. His head is too big for his body. That's one thing I know for sure. Let me bring that down. His head is way big. Little things you start to realize in your own life. Let's see. There. That's better. It was too big and it wasn't far out enough. Let me see. Okay. Still think like even when you have to move things around, be aware of where things are coming from. His skull is in here. His neck would be in here. Shoulder. That's the thing with lions and male lions in particularly. They have these big manes around them, but you still have to learn where everything is going to go. Shoulders, neck, all of that stuff. One of the things, and I've been studying lions for a couple of, God, like 2 years. I've been really trying to work on lions. It's part of an ongoing project that I've been working on, and also just me really being interested in learning to draw them like, um, wow. And one of the things that really helped me was doing a lot of drawings of lionesses because the lioness obviously doesn't have the big mane, and there's not too many huge differences between, the anatomy of the male and the female as far as their body shape goes. So once you start to learn how to draw of a female, it helps a lot when you go back to the male and you want to add the name and everything. That's our timer already. I'm gonna try and throw in this arm. Sort of forearm. I want to leave it there. Let's have a better understanding. Okay, so that is our first scar. I know that there's more scars, not actual scars, but there's something here that's missing too. I'll have to figure it out later, I guess. Gotta move on to the next pose. But you've been a pleasure, Scott. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna resize this. This is Jafar. I've been talking about Jafar the whole time anyway, so might as well do a sketch of Scar. And I have to change this down here because I have multiple sources where I got these images from, not just Live Lily. There's been a couple of different locations where I was getting references. Okay, so let's go on ahead and start this sketch. And let's start him. We're going to do 10 minutes still, so let's go ahead. Water. Okay. Where'd you go? Sorry, I keep crying myself. I don't know. Been getting like some weird allergies. They come popping in every once in a while. Over the last week or so. He has a really odd shaped head. Just goes to show you don't have to have one. There's so many different ways you can go with a head shape. His mouth is really low. He's just really a miserable person. He's not impressed by anything. He's just a mean old man. Mean and sad old man. And not happy for anything that happens. Even when I feel like even when he did, get his dream of being the Sultan, he still wasn't happy. He was just like, you think he lost it. He just kind of went insane a little bit. I guess that's what happens. I mean, it was believable, his reaction. He like has this maniacal laugh and stuff, but it doesn't, obviously he's not happy. He still keeps wanting more and more. He's never satisfied, and that's obviously where he meets his demise. Whatever happens to the villain, I just wonder, like, whatever happens to these guys? Whatever happens. Yeah, a lot of the villains die, but it's like, I don't know. It's weird. Why are there these polar energies of good versus evil? It's interesting. He does a really good job of capturing that sort of attitude of Jafar. I don't think I gave him enough space between his eyes and his nose. I do that. I'll recognize that I'm doing it and I'll be like, oh, there it goes again. And I had the line there, but I ignored it and I made the eyes lower. But that didn't work. So the whole purpose of this is to recognize, what you're doing and the differences between what you're doing and what these masters are doing or have done. Like the way that they're approaching line, the way that they're making shapes, the relation between the eyes, nose, and mouth. I mean, you might not pick it up immediately, but that's the whole purpose of us practicing. It's not to try and, take their art or steal their art. So I hope that, like, there's two different ways of approaching this. You can approach it in a way of, well, I don't trust my drawings enough, so I'm just going to draw these other artists that have created these designs, so that, by taking their imagery, then I become, you know, almost like them. That doesn't work. I feel like that's not the purpose of this, and I hope that um, you come in not in that frame of mind. What I want to get from this, and what I hope that you get from this, is really just seeing what it is about these masters that have had these great accomplishments and breakthroughs in art. What is it that they're doing that we can? Uh, what is it that they're doing that I'm not doing? What is it that I can apply that? What is it I haven't noticed about creating an interesting character that I can learn? So hopefully you come into it with that sort of sense and begin to just see, patterns between each of these artists. You'll see that, Mark Davis did something similar to Chuck Jones, or you'll see that, Andreas Deja did something similar to Don Bluth or something. It could be totally different artists, but they're both doing something that's similar, something that makes it work. And that's what we're looking for. And I feel like by doing that, it makes you a stronger artist, makes me a stronger artist, and it also just appreciates what's been done. Okay. It's just something in that eye, and I feel like that's one thing that Len King is good at, amazing at, getting that little, really realistic look in the eye. That's something that landed really well. And I see it here too, in Andreas Deja's work. Seeing that little twinkle in the eye that just says, I'm thinking. Like, this, like, it says, I have a thought. It says, I have an opinion. It's like weird. Yes, it's a drawing, but it has like this, like it's a thinking thing. It's weird. Capturing that, I think, that's amazing. And hopefully, we can learn how to do it by studying the masters. Hopefully, that makes sense. All right, we're getting there, getting closer to an actual thinking more about his head shape now. He almost has this little light bulby, a very light bulby type of head, a very unimpressed attitude, very. We've all met this person before. We've all had principals or teachers or supervisors that have had this sort of like unhappy arrogance. It's like, even what's his name on American Idol? Simon Cowell has the same sort of an attitude. Like, he is Jafar. Everybody might as well put Jafar up there. It's like the same. I feel like we've all encountered this in real life in some way or another, and that's what makes it real. That's what really does it. That's what makes it successful, is the fact that people have encountered this personality in their own life, and that really makes it so story. It's not something that's like radical, unbelievable. This is something that, even though it's really a caricature and an abstract of the real thing, it's still like, oh, I know that guy. I recognize that guy. That's my boss. My, that's my thesis advisor or whatever. you know, I don't know. I just this eyebrow goes way more. You see, this eyebrow is like up there. It's really like distrusting. Someone says, look like my grandmother would give me. My grandmother had a hard time trusting anybody, so she would definitely give that that look of disapproval. Yeah, I definitely got it from her. I'm sure you've experienced it from somebody. That look of disapproval, it's not fun. Not a fun thing to experience, but it's really fun to draw. Move this stuff out of the way. Make it a little bit more clean and clear. Okay, that makes it a little bit easier to read. And like this, make it a little bit easier to read. I haven't drawn Jafar in a long time, so I know I've drawn him before, but I haven't drawn him in a long time. I don't have time to clean him up at all. Don't know, maybe that's pushing it, but nope. Nope, I can just barely made it through Jafar. I'm getting so many text messages for like people asking me to vote for them. And this must be a new thing. I guess they're trying to reach millennials and elder millennials like myself. I don't know. Okay, let's get through this. And why did I say get through this? That's not the term I meant to use. I meant like, I don't know. I think you know what I mean. I think I'm just thinking about getting text messages from politicians now. I don't understand why I'm getting text messages from politicians. But okay. Seriously though, it is important to vote. So hopefully that you vote in the midterm elections. Donald Trump is real. He's real and he's out to get us. So hopefully you guys vote for the midterms. I've never voted for the midterms in my life, I'll admit that, but I think that I will now. Not to get political, because this channel is not about that, but at this point, it's kind of hard to, like, I can't be neutral anymore. I have to blatantly admit that I am not for Trump. I don't think that's a radical statement anyway, because I think most of us are not for Trump. But I'll have to admit, no, I'm not for Trump. So hopefully, if you are an American citizen, that you go out and you vote, then you're 18 or over. It's our responsibility. But anyway, getting past politics, let's get back to art. And I'm gonna have to start. I remember I didn't want to say anything before, especially when you had the first election back in 2016. I didn't want to say anything because I was trying to be neutral, but I was voting for Hillary, but I was trying to be neutral. But now it's like, why bother? Why bother being neutral? It's like, sometimes you just have to call. So let's go and start this pose. This is a little bit more of a close-up of Scar. I almost called him Jafar again, and I corrected myself. This is much more of a close-up, actually. We're just focusing on his facial features. We're just going to try. Hey, Pat. He looks, God, now that I'm looking at him like this, have you ever seen the Big Bad Wolf? The old Disney short of the Three Little Pigs. It scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. I watched it when I was about 5 years old, and it gave me hallucinations. I'll say that, and it sounds weird, but I was 5 years old, and I swore that I saw that wolf in my bedroom trying to get me. Anyway, suddenly Jafar did it again. Suddenly, Scar reminds me of that. I feel like he has something in him that's very much like that. That wolf. That wolf. That wolf. It makes sense because I mean, in a sense, Simba is like the innocent child, and then it's this person or this creature that really doesn't care if they're a child or not. He's out to kill him. Literally, he wants to kill Simba. His whole goal for all of it was to kill Simba initially. Even before killing Mufasa, he wanted to kill Simba, and that's kind of like this weird um, thing where he's like, what do they call it? Infanticide or something like that, when they kill a child or something like that. Anyway, it's just kind of creepy, and it's like weird that he has this like evil look on him. And oh, I started talking about the Little Red Riding Hood, but I mean, it's similar. You know what I mean? Even though it still has this like this big bad wolf sort of a thing. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but that's what I get. And I don't know. I don't know if animation historian is a thing, but I think that I'd like to learn how to be that. I just find the whole process so interesting. I love how filmmaking has its role, and I love how characters, play off of each other through, um, even as far as like, storytelling, ancient storytelling, to film and how it's affected character design. And I don't know, I just think it's so neat. And I don't know if you feel the same way. Hopefully you have similar interests. I need his snout too long. You see, I was maybe thinking too deeply about that big bad wolf thing. I see that his snout is too long. Gotta remember that he's a lion, not a wolf. He does have a huge nose, though. They really gave him a schnoz. They really went in for it. So, just really like a wickedness in his eyes. Like a wickedness. I can describe it as. Which I think is really interesting just to understand how they came to that. Even though he's smiling too, he's like smiling with this evil smile. That's a thing. Oh, it's so creepy. I don't want to get into it, but it's a thing. There's this thing that is called, I don't know, maybe you can look it up in your own time or something. What is it called? It's like, what is it called? I don't know. Maybe I just really want to look it up. But anyways, this thing are these people, I don't want to get into it. But yeah, evil smile is a real thing. That's all I'm saying. And that's creepy. This looks creepy. This is creeping me out. No more villains. I don't want to do villains anymore. This scar is creeping me out. Well, that means it's effective though. I mean, this essentially that's the whole purpose of the character is to creep you out or to creep me out. It's supposed to be creepy, but it works. It is creepy, and I'm officially creeped out by this drawing. So thanks, Disney. You officially creeped me out. I missed the point. That was really genius. Just adding that point makes a big difference with his way he looks. His hair is almost like flamey. There's all these things I didn't like notice about him, but you pick it up when you draw it, and that's my whole point. It's like you pick up these things you didn't realize before when you draw. Sharper edges. He's much sharper edged than Simba. Like look at these points here in his hair. That's a lot different than the way that Simba or Mufasa is designed. But maybe something to think about too if you have to design villains for your own stories, or if you get into any field where you have to design a villain. Something to think about, the angles that you use, that smile that you use. And I always think that characters should be like, you're going to see a huge difference when you base a character off of an actual person. So I don't know who he used, but I'm sure he had several sources. Obviously, I've called out a few, like he must have, there's no way to ignore Shere Khan and the impact that he had. And I also think that he's also influenced by the Big Bad Wolf and Three Little Pigs. But also, he did something totally new and something kind of French about Scar. I don't know what it is, but he feels kind of French to me, like if I was to guess. So I think that he had some definitely some kind of other influences, human influences that impacted Scar that we didn't even realize. I'm gonna try and clean them up a little bit. Hopefully I have at least a minute or so to do that. Let's see. Like a creepy eyeball. He always has like eyeliner. He's like got a very probably some influence too. Like lion eyes are really interesting. Take a look at them whenever you get a chance. I definitely feel like the makeup worn in ancient Egypt, like, was inspired by lion eyes because they're really similar. So you might see a little bit of like an Egyptian look, but I feel like that Egyptian look initially came from lions, or they were inspired. I mean, so much of cultural costume and cultural dress is inspired by nature and is inspired by wildlife. It's really an interesting phenomenon if you want to look at it further into it and see how much animals impact the way we dress, how much nature impacts style. It's really incredible, not just now, but like for ages and ages. Really interesting. So you would say that Egyptians, or Scar was inspired by Egyptian look, but actually Egyptians were inspired by lions. So it's the opposite. Scar was as the one, when you actually get a good look at lions and their eyes. Really neat to see. And as I'm actually designing a lion now, for my novel, and I feel like I don't want to run into that Lion King look, but it's almost like when you're really trying to make believable lions and incorporate lion anatomy, and it's almost impossible to. And especially, I was born in an era where obviously Lion King had a huge effect on me. I can't deny that. But, caricaturizing of lions, I mean, the Lion King is really spot on with that. It's hard to ignore it. I feel like I'm just going to have to embrace it. That, yeah, it's going to have a little bit of an element of Lion King, but trying to still make it unique and original. I feel like I just want to get a little bit further into this drawing. I'm just going to work on it for another minute or two. I just want to at least get some of that face a little bit better before you just drop it to move on. He has a lip like Jafar. His lip is very much like Jafar. Notice. And let's see. This should be more pointy. Yeah, that's way better. This should definitely be different. I don't know where I got that angle from. That's not even there at all. I just made that up, didn't I? This comes further out. This goes straight down. That's way better. Okay. And let's see. Let's see. It's really interesting too how they separated the face from the mane, because that's another issue that I've been coming into contact with while I'm designing my lion character, and it's like separating the hair, because it really just grows right out of their face like a beard, and it's like, you know, separating into two different colors from where the face ends and the mane starts. It's a little bit of a complication. It's a little bit complicated. So it's a thing that I have to take into account for. I love how they still included the whiskers. So they didn't leave that out. They didn't ignore that he has whiskers. I like that. He still is a cat. I wonder how much extra that costs the studio just to add whiskers. The little things like that drastically change the budget. I wonder, but I think it's worth it for something like this. But I wonder how much it changed their budget just to add those whiskers. And I'll move through this a little bit. Okay, so let's see. Made his mouth too open, but that's all right. Trying to get a better understanding of him. All right, that's not bad. I came out with it with a better understanding of Scar. So hopefully that helps a bit. And let's see. Oh, we got Gaston. And this is a concept drawing of Gaston. This is not the final design, but it was still done by Andreas Deja, and he was the supervising animator of Gaston, our favorite handsome villain. I love that they have a handsome villain. It's like, and even like when you have beautiful villains, like these beautiful female villains, and like I feel like it's, you know, it's not dismissing just because they're attractive doesn't necessarily mean that they're the person. And I feel like it's obviously the same in real life. You realize that. So I really love Gaston. I think he's a great character, great believable personality. And let's go ahead and get started with this guy. I love him. I think he's great. I think he's done very well. I think he is believable, and I don't know what else to say about him. Great character. That's all I can say. That's all there needs to be said. He's a great character. Oh man. Didn't start my camera yet. Let's go ahead and start. This is where your figure drawing comes in handy. You don't believe me? Figure drawing is going to change your life. It will. If you've been doing figure drawing, then these sort of characters come much more naturally, a lot easier to accomplish because you have that knowledge in your head. Give them a little bit more of an angle. I just feel like with this guy, his anatomy is such a major part of his character. It's important to really capture that. And even like he has like this sort of almost like I was gonna say feminine, but it's almost like he's like a horse. He's like a show pony, like when you bring out a horse and he knows he's a good racehorse or whatever. He knows he's a good horse. Like you ever see a Clydesdale, like those, they come out and they just like kind of strut. They just strut around, and it's really funny because Gaston looks just like that right now. And humans, we like to think we're so above, animal kingdom. We're so advanced because look how smart humans are, but we're just like, we're not really different than a horse or any other kind of animal. I mean, we're obviously we have our own unique characteristics and things that we're strong at, like our minds and developing. But we're not that different from the animals because they have their strengths too. It might be like a horse, like a human wouldn't be able to carry hundreds of pounds of luggage on a wagon across America, but a horse can, So I'm just saying, we all have our strengths and our weaknesses, but us humans, we're not so above the animal kingdom as we think. We do a lot of the same things that animals do. We strut around like this, like a show horse, or like a proud poodle. And we do it in different ways, so you might not do it this way, but maybe you do it in another way. Maybe you do this with your portfolio. Maybe you show your portfolio around like a pony. I'm just saying, maybe you do, maybe you don't. It's just funny to recognize the things that humans do that are different. I mean, that are so similar to the things that animals do. Like Gaston. So, you know, and I want to get everything in here. I want to kind of mark where everything is. I appreciated the live action film. I appreciated it, but it's just not. It's just not it. It's like watching like a remake. It's like okay, well, I guess it is a remake, but it's still nothing like the original. Just leave originals as they be. I just feel like just leave them alone. Just leave them. I mean, I'll watch them, but I'm not gonna buy the DVDs, and I'm not gonna tell my friends it's great because it's not great. Okay, and I'd say I'd rather watch the original. I'd rather you re-release the original than big screen. And that's what I'd pay even more for. Release the original back in the the big screen, and I'll just see that. You don't have to go through the trouble to make money of making this remake in a live action for just re-release the original in theater, and I will gladly go. I think all the fans will. And don't release like the refurbished version or blah blah blah. Just leave it original, even if it's scratchy, even if it's got errors or whatever from being naturally older than modern movies. That's okay. It's like just let it be. I don't feel like I need the re-enhanced version with these new theme songs that I don't even like in the movie because it's not the original. Maybe I'm ranting right now. I'm just saying I like the original movies. I don't need a remake. Sure, I'll go watch it. I'll pay to watch it, but I would have paid just as easily and more eagerly to watch the same original be released in theaters, just so I can watch it again in theaters. So make more stories. You don't have to make like the same. You don't have to recreate the old story that was already done perfectly the first time. Just make a new story. You can make it in the essence, I guess, of this type of film. That's what I think is missing. Make new films with the same essence. Like Beauty and the Beast was done with the same essence that Snow White was. The very first film of Disney. It's still a musical. It's still fantasy. It's still romance. It's still all of these things. It's still fairy tales. Like, keep doing that. Not saying that's the only thing that you can do, but you can keep doing that. I think. Why not? All right, now I'm going to try and focus a little bit and try and get a little bit of his face. Oh, there goes the cat. Cat is making a bunch of noise too. Try and get some of this. Okay. I want to be careful so that I can try and keep as much of his likeness. It has a little bit of a, I don't know if that's just a drawing line. It looks like maybe Gaston's not that young. Maybe he's 40-ish. He's not like he's 18. He's a grown man. Still acts very immaturely. Belle would not have had a good time being married to him, I'll say that. I predict she would have been unhappy in that marriage. Or maybe, I don't know. Would she? Would Belle have been happy in that marriage if she would have settled for Gaston? I don't know. Yeah. Probably, obviously not. But what if she changed him? What if she she wanted to change the beast anyway, right? I think she wanted to turn him into like this. And he was a beast for goodness sake, and look at his anger issues that the beast had. The beast wasn't perfect either. Let's just say it. Beast was not the perfect guy. He had serious anger issues. And he was spoiled too. So, did he even get over that one? How do we know that he really changed after he turned back human? What if he just went back to being his spoiled self, turning away old ladies at the door? And roaring around. What if he was even worse after, they got married? We don't know. There's no like and then. And then Belle and Bee switched to their chapter. Like, we don't know what happened. I don't know. Maybe this is why I think too much about these types of things. It's really dramatic, I think. Sorry. Sorry I dragged you into the storyline that you weren't interested in hearing. Okay. Gaston. I don't know what Gaston means. I'm sure it means something. Le Fou means the fool in French. I think you probably knew that already. Kind of self-explanatory too. Le Fou sounds really similar to the fool. Le Fou. Okay, Gaston. I guess we're gonna have to call you a day. Even though you're a proud pony right now. I still want to draw him though. It's like, yeah, interesting to draw. But I gotta move on. One more guy left, and he's a surprise, and I've been saving him for the ending, and he's epic. So, okay. I love you, Gaston, but we're gonna have to move on. I feel like actually Gaston had more hope than the Beast did because at least Gaston, you could see little things. He had little glimpses of a good person in there somewhere. Like he's trying. I think he would have. I think if Belle would have gave him a chance, he would have maybe cleaned up his act a little bit. I think maybe that's being overly hopeful, but I think so. I mean, he could have been, messing with all those other girls, but he wasn't even interested. So, yeah, I'm going to leave. Let's move on. Okay, our last but not least is dun, 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 King Triton. I know. Oh, he's amazing. Look how amazing this drawing is. It's like Zeus. It's like so just nice. I don't know. Maybe I'm being dramatic, but I just think this needs to be in a museum. Like, look how beautiful of a drawing this is. It's so nice. It's so accurate. It's so good. That's all I can say. It's just a good drawing. Even this one up here. Like, definitely calls to just, the Greek mythology and Renaissance art. And I just think, my goodness, this is a really good piece of art. And that's why it's like animation is amazing because there's not just one of these, there's just like hundreds of these. And within one film, there's so many of these amazing drawings. And it's like, my God, I just think they're amazing. Maybe I'm being dramatic, but that's what I think. But it is. I mean, look, how can you not say this is amazing artwork? It's gorgeous. Yeah, maybe that's just me. But whatever. Okay, I'm gonna start the timer. So let's go. This is our last drawing, by the way. So let's start. Speaking of Zeus, did you know Andreas Deja also was the directing animator of Hercules? The actual character Hercules? I thought that was pretty cool. He did a great job in that one as well. So unfortunately, we won't get to Hercules today, but just wanted to give him his credit for the amazing work he did on that film as well. Jesus. Dividing his back in two. Get that second shoulder, which is over here, and his chest cavity is coming up here. He's sunken into his body, but not. He's just like, oh no, God, it reminds me of my grandfather. My grandfather wasn't this big imposing figure, but he spoke with authority like this. I think that's what it is. He really spoke with authority like King Triton does. Like he knew what his word, and he was like, you better not mess with it. Maybe that's another reason, yet again, why I love Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid was such an amazing movie. Let's see. Oh, I have a painting at the state fair. I think this is the last week of the state fair. I have a painting there. It's in the DIY or DIY for paintings, and it's in those little. I got a first place award for it, which is really nice. So you can probably see the. Well, you can see the painting if you go up to my website. It's aliciadianne.com, and you can go to the under the portfolio tab. There's a tab that says paintings, and there's this painting of this giant red orange octopus, and he's like attacking this ship that's on its way home, and you'll see it, you'll recognize when you see it. But that's the painting that I have in LA County Fair right now, and I got a first place award for it, so that's pretty nice. Try to put my art wherever I find opportunities. It's not always in a gallery where you might find a place for your work. It might be in a local diner, or it might be in a local shop, or it might be at a county fair or a state fair. And to me, it's just like wherever people can see my art, and that works for me. If people can see it, then I'm happy to hopefully impact someone. One, two, his eyes. He's really doesn't have small eyes, but he's really overpowering eyebrows. Let's see. Let's think about this. Because he's not a simple character at all. By any means. Very complex character. So I want to try and get this right, but also understand that it's not necessarily an easy task. Sorry, I've been choking all morning. Sorry, you have to hear me choke. Drink some more water. I just have like this twitch in my throat. Sorry. So I very much apologize for that. I don't want to be grossing you out or anything, so I'm doing that. His head is a little bit. Even this crown, I'm like used to seeing it. I'm slightly more used to seeing Ursula wearing it. I just remember that image at the end of the movie where she has the crown on, and she grows into this behemoth, I guess you would call it. And even though he's like this big and strong character, you can still see the way that the water is impacting him. So his hair is still flowing in the water. And this is just like not even 10 years after he started working at Disney. This is pretty soon into his career. Disney, he started at Disney in 1980. This movie was released in 89, so they had to be working on it since at least 87, maybe 86, probably even before that. But at least 87. I want to say they were in production for this movie. So he wasn't even working there for too long before he moved on from being an assistant to being a director, and that's a pretty big accomplishment, I'd say. And he's like, don't even think about taking the car. Obviously, that's not what you said, but it kind of makes me feel like, don't you even think about. It's pretty much the same thing that every teenage girl gets yelled at. I think every, I know I did. It's always like that one boy, right? That you shouldn't be going out with, but you don't listen, and you get yelled at like this. So it's pretty much a common struggle for teenage girls. That one boy that you should have left alone. I remember those days. I don't miss them at all. I'm glad that I'm not 16 anymore. I'll say that. Yeah. If you are 16, don't worry. There's hope. There's still hope if you're 16. And I'm not mad at you for 16. And so I'm just going to keep moving through this. And I'm going to start to try and clean up a little bit. And I think I got a lot of his framework done. I think I'm understanding a little bit. Like this forward motion. That's one thing that I'm missing. Like this forward motion. Really pushing his chest up. What was that? Like I said before, even when you're doing other people's characters, still think about like their emotion and their person, like what they're thinking right now. And he's like really like, don't even think about it, or like stop. And he's just a dad trying to hold on to his daughter. You know, he's afraid to lose her, and he knows the trouble that she could be headed in. He's really just trying to, control her by force. But it doesn't really always work. It doesn't really work with teenage girls. You can probably get that to a teenage boy, but teenage girl is gonna be like, she's gonna find her own way. Like women are different. We think differently than men do. We operate differently. And at the end of the day, we do what we want to do. Cannot be controlled. Just kind of is that way. At the end of the day, just do what we want. We learn from it. At least we learn from it. All right, I'm gonna start to try and get a little bit more of my friend Triti here. That's our timer, but we're gonna keep going for a little bit. And hopefully get some of that essence of King Triton in here. We won't always be able to go this long on Wednesdays. I know next Wednesday I have to leave early. My times are different on Monday and Wednesdays now because of class, but I have some flexibility on certain days, but not every day. So next week I won't be able to go this long, but since I am doing studio day today, I'm just working from home, I'd like to spend a little bit more time on King Triton here. try and get his likeness. As I can. Where's he looking? He's looking. I like to kind of make the thing that he's looking at. He's looking right here. That way I can better frame his eyes. Give him a focal point to look at. It makes the eyes look much more accurate when you create a focal point like this, because you can really direct the eye to one spot. And I've just started doing that recently, but it helps a lot. I don't even know where I got it from. I just, as I came, I think maybe I got it from doing yoga. Because I realize I have so much more balance when I have something to look at. I need like something to focus my eyes on one center spot, and then I can really remain balanced on one leg or whatever for a longer period of time. And I feel like having that focal point also helps with my artwork as well. So I've incorporated that. I don't know if that's where I got it from, but it could be. Almost looks like an angry dwarf or something. A big beard. Kind of looks a little bit dwarfish. It's almost as bad as talking about the rebellious girls, as I'm saying that Moana's arguing with Molly about what she will not do. I think that's kind of funny. Kind of proves my point a little bit. Just saying. Just saying. I think now that I've done his face, I want to go a little bit bigger with that paintbrush tool. A little bit stronger line here. Even like a little bit, like a little bit more discernment on one eye. That's all you think about it. Not that much. Like a little twinge more. Ooh, you better listen to me, little girl. Like, the lip is like coming out too far. Something's going on. I think this part of his nose. Too much. Just like my characters to look like my characters. I don't want to make it look like it's not them. So let's see. Okay. Let's save it because I don't even think I've saved it this whole time. Goodness. All right, let's try and bring out a little bit. Let's see. Beard's coming this way. Just the little organic shape of the beard. I don't want to get that. Don't want to get it too long. Oh, this is his beard coming out on this side. I saw this before. Trying to get like little details right now. I want to get them right. His forehead is smaller than I initially drew it. I'm my fault. I have a big forehead, and I tend to make my characters have the same deficit. Okay. Okay, we're still trading. What else can we learn from you? See. Okay. Still moving. Still going. It's okay to add a little bit too. I feel like a nice little bit of his elbow bone there. Works nicely. Detail. If you feel like watching The Little Mermaid after this, don't blame me. He was really masterful at anatomy. Andreas Deja, a really, really good eye for. And I feel like a lot of it you can't even really appreciate until you see the actual sketches. The sketches really hold that knowledge, that understanding of the body. They really show more so in the original sketching. And that's one of the reasons why I really appreciate original drawings. Shows the thought process and trying to learn to incorporate more of my own original drawings in my portfolio. Um, I think I have a lot in my videos. Obviously, you're seeing me as my original drawings, but a lot of what I put in my portfolio, maybe you have the same problem as putting the just finished drawings. Because I don't know. I don't know which of my. I mean, some of them I can tell. Okay, I like this original sketch, but some of them I don't know. I don't know which ones do you want to see. There's so many drawings, so many drawings, and that's a good. I guess it's a good problem to have. Lots and lots of drawings. I love to see this little muscle right here. It's a real muscle. I love how it's shown there. It's so good. There's lots of characters throughout time that have really good muscle definition and really show strength like this. It's oh, so much fun. Someone's at my door. I don't know. I don't trust random knocks at the door. In too many documentaries. I don't like random knocks. Don't knock on my door. If you know me, you'll call me. Or text me at least. I'm not gonna answer a random door knock. I don't trust it. I don't play these games. From New York. I can't release that. Still have issues with trusting strangers. Not strangers, but just testy situations or predicaments. Would be a better way. This way. Hold on. Let me see. I'm just gonna look through the door now. See if he's there. Yeah, that's my apartment management. So at least that's not it's not big evil bad guy. I think talking about Scar for too long was creepy enough. Oh, I'm okay. It's just the apartments. That's okay. So anyway, going back to King Triton. I don't know. I want to check what even color him too. He looks so fun. Maybe his hair is too big. Did I make his hair too big? Yeah, his hair is not quite so big. I like his hair big though. It looks kind of nice. And I'm gonna try and keep his at least a bit of his. Oh, do I want that there? No. Some wing here. Okay. Well, I guess that's gonna be it, guys. Man, this was cool. King Triton, you did not disappoint. Thank you, King Triton. And I am gonna call it for this session of studying the masters. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being a part of this channel. Me, and guys, I remind you all to be grateful, live balanced, and be yourself. And I will see you guys next time. Have a great week. See you.